Okay, we're getting into the next pair of characters this time. Now we're going to be taking a look at ERRON Black and Kung Lao. So, right off the bat, we're going to be starting with ERRON Black. Once again, we've been talking about how a lot of characters have been buffed, changed, adjusted. For ERRON Black, it's pretty much just he got hit with a nerf bat. He has been nerfed considerably. I truly don't believe that he's been killed. I think he still plays the game well. I think he still does things that other characters can't do and does them well. But you definitely, I feel like they've really taken down some of the autopilot-ness to this character, right? Because they definitely want you to be playing a bit smarter now in comparison to the way you could play before with this character, and I'll explain why. So, first things first, his Fatal Blow is now 18 frames of startup, not 10. So now you can't just do it and see anything and go, hey, reaction, cool, I've got really good reactions. It's now 18 frames, so you can still react to things with it. You just have to be, you as the ERRON player have to be way more on the ball, because this is still, it's 18 frames, so it's still going to work from full screen. That's still enough to do what it does. It's just not going to be quite as easy for you now. You also can't do it off of this now. Okay, no, it does work. I think it's just that doesn't work against certain small hitbox characters, I think. But again, it's just going to require more knowledge from your part as the ERRON Black player. So you can still do it off of, yeah, you still do it off of, like, that. You still do it off of this. You still do it off of this against, you know, a lot of the cast. Like, you just have to know. You just have to be playing properly. Now, here is where a lot of the changes have stemmed from for ERRON Black. Scud Shot has been nerfed. Scud Shot, for those of you that don't know, is this move. It is the, I'm just going to hold down and you can't throw anything at me because the game is just going to shoot it for me move. You can let go at any time for no cost of resources to just come out of it. You can do it on block. So before, you would see ERRON Black players do this, and they're safe. Because this by itself is unsafe. You know, this is minus 15. You would see ERRON players do this, and they were like barely minus. They would do this, be barely minus, and they'd be barely minus to the point that you'd see them going for weird things like this into down 4 or this into down 3. You know, really trying to like steal their turn back from you despite going for this 11 frame safe on block, no gap mid. It really would plug all the problems. And just to add to it, you could also just amplify it straight away. And, you know, if they try pressing a button, you'd knock them full screen and you'd do damage. And even if they block it, you know, this is safe, so who cares? Minus 6, right? From point blank, it's minus 10. But if you're doing it off of this, minus 8. So yeah, safe. Scud Shot Recovery increased by 5 frames. Scud Shot Amplified Block Stun decreased by 5 frames, and projectile travel speed has been slightly reduced. What this means is that this does not recover as fast as it used to. So the elephant in the room here is if ERRON Black was doing this to make it safe, to make his best mid safe no matter what, if he does it now, that's a punish. So if he wants to go for that, it's a punish. If he goes for just one, it's a punish. But what if I try and punish it? What if I try and punish it? I get hit by the gun. So that is what Scud Shot has become now. Scud Shot is no longer a do it after pretty much anything on block to keep yourself at that universal frame advantage or whatever, like barely minus. Always safe is the big thing. Always safe with this good of a down 3. His down 4 wasn't bad either. His down 1 was incredible as well. So he could, with this one move, he would make himself unzonable. He would make himself just a distanced god, really, for the most part. Unless there were moves that wouldn't beat Scud Shot, and even then, like, you know, there's only a handful of those. And he would also be making all of his buttons, including this 11 frame gapless mid, safe no matter what he did. He can still do all of those things. He just has to come off the resources now to do it. If he wants to make this safe, spend the bar. That's what Scud Shot has pretty much boiled down into. So it is definitely a nerf for sure, but I feel like it's definitely made him a bit more sensible in that regard, because that move was insane. Rattlesnake Slide Amplified has 3 more frames of recovery. So there are a couple more adjustments that have been made. Nerfs applied to ERRON Black. This has 3 more frames of recovery, and the acid is a smaller puddle. You might just see it straight away, but That's pretty much what's happened there. So reduce the region size of the pool of acid created by the Zaterran spit or the amped rattlesnake slide. So if you go for this and then go for a back throw, the back throw, which used to do 1 billion damage, now does 17 because they only get hit by 3 ticks of the acid as they go through it. However, you can do a front throw and they are stood in it the same amount of time as always. So the front throw is now the higher damaging option, which in my opinion adds to his crushing blow throw game quite well, because now if an ERRON player wants max damage off of this, he has to go for a front throw. His crushing blow is on his back throw. So if they know that the front throw is the highest damage and they tech front and get hit by this, that's an escape failed. And then the next time you hit this, they now have to read, if they think a throw is coming and they're going to tech it, they have to read forward throw for just about 20% near enough, or a back throw for the crushing blow. It now is an adjustment on how the throw game is played after the slide. Definitely a nerf, absolutely a nerf, but I feel like ERRON Black players can still use this to their advantage. I feel like they can still fit this into their game. Especially the ERRON Black players that really were like mind game heavy. This is a big one. Boots drop amplify now cannot hit airborne opponents. So this drop kick was amplifiable on block. If I make him block. To make it safe no matter what. Now it does not hit airborne opponents. So if he jumps and like jumps, let's make him hop. There you go. So now you can hop the shot and punish him, or you can jump in, or you can do whatever. Pretty much there's now a way of making this unsafe, which is huge, because this was pretty much a free way in most of the time. There were specific things you could do, like jumping back on a read, like a hard read, and hitting him on the way down, but generally speaking, this was a nightmare. This now gives you some more counterplay to it, which makes ERRON Black punishable. This one is quite big also. Rising Stock, which is this, has now been made a default move. Cancelling the recovery of Rising Stock by leaving locked and loaded will require enhanced lock and loaded ability. What that means is you now, when you do an option from this, you default stay in the gun stance. To come out of this gun stance, you have to hold up after doing a move, like a strike move. But to do that properly, like after the launcher, requires you to have the ability to allow it, which is what 52 card pickup does. Which means that Barking Irons now has this as well, but if he wants to, Barking Irons is going to do this into like gunshots and stuff, whereas this variation can still do this and then put it away to continue his combo. However, speaking of his combos from this, his down 1 recovery on hit has been increased by 5 frames. Recovery on block and miss increased by 1 frame, but the hit stun is increased by 6. So this is a better poke for the ground, but for combos, down 1 doesn't really work anymore. Beforehand, I'm going to make him stop doing that because that noise is getting on my nerves. Beforehand, this was the combo, right? You would get him doing launch, he'd put it away, down 1, and then this. The added recovery on hit now means that this doesn't work, pretty much. It's good. The timing is completely different, so bear with me. This might take some tries. You see, I'm pressing the button too early because the added recovery. There you go. It's you just can't get it anymore. And the same thing off of this too. Not that he could ever do it off of that. It's just, if you get a standing button, you can no longer do a launch into a down 1 into a follow-up. What you can do, though, is because you stay in the stance, you can do this, and then you can still do again, the timing is completely different, so it will take you some time to get used to it. You can still do this. Okay, you just have to make sure you remember to hold it up every time now. There you go. You still get this. You just get a little bit less damage now. And you have to do something different now. Combo-wise, you still get decent damage. You still get whatever knockdown you want into slide. Because we have to remember, they're still not getting around the fact that this is still one of the best built-in setups in the entire game. The damage this can lead to is staggering. And we've all seen time and time again as to why that is. You can still do this. There you go. You can still do that for near enough 30% into whatever it is you want to do for more damage. It's Dayman. Thank you for the 20 months, bro. That's a long time. Welcome back. But, yeah, so his combos have definitely changed somewhat. You still get, like, we'll get on easy crushing blows. You still get, you know, your damage off your crushing blows. I actually wonder what he does off this. Does he just do 4-3-4 now? I think he just does 4-3-4 now. So you still get your launching crushing blows. Yeah, so you still get decent damage off of that. You still be able to do the same thing off of down 2. I wonder if this actually... Yeah. Yeah. So that still does decent damage. Well, actually, is that because I had easy crushing blows? I don't know. I'm going to see if that works. Hang on. I need to empty my gun. I don't know if that works or if it's because I had easy crushing blows on. Because it looked a bit weird. Like it put him grounded. I want to see if that works. Okay, no, it does work. It does work. Yeah. So you can still do that. You can still do that. So he still gets good damage off those. This is a cool one. Locked and loaded firing, pretty much firing the rifle will not automatically turn you around. We've all seen a few times where ERRON Black will just get the rifle out and just shoot the shit all the time. And if they jumped over him, he would like track them straight away. What this now means is if he jumps over me when I've already started firing. So if I start firing and then keep firing, this has to be point blank. Okay, no, I did it too late. There you go. If I keep firing, I'm not going to turn around. Beforehand, he would just zip and turn around the other way. Whereas now, if I fire, he jumps over me. He turns around now. But if you continue to fire, he's not going to turn around. So you now, again, you have to be smarter. You have to be smarter with it. The down 1 change, of course. His down 3 got improved and was already one of the best pokes in the game. Recovery increased by 1 frame, sure, but the hit stun increased by 4 frames. So on hit, the down 3 is even better than it was before, which is very cool. So it's still the low profile button, make jump-ins whiff, you know, low profile, loads of buttons on the ground, and on hits, you're going to be able to turn it into... every down 3 on hit is going to turn into this. Every down 3 and hit can turn into a safe 2, which leads into this, which wasn't possible before, I don't think. Does that one get it too? Yeah, it does. So every low poke will give him a safe 2, whatever he wants to do, pretty much. But that's it. That's the gist of ERRON Black. I feel like their goal was to make him require a little bit more thought process. He was, in my personal opinion, I found him very autopilot before, and I feel like now he can still do what he does. He's just not as good at it, but it's still stuff that only he can do. So I think he's still going to have a place. I definitely expect there being a lot of knee-jerk reactions of this character is dead, this character is bottom tier, and I imagine a lot of people will drop him because of that. I hope some people stick with him and still manage to make him work, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. So that took a while. This might be a longer video because ERRON Black had a lot of changes to talk about. But now we talk about Kung Lao, who has had some very interesting changes, actually. And I'll explain why. Let me sort this out just quick. All right, let me go to his changes. Okay, Kung Lao hasn't had many changes, but they are very nice. 1-2-1 hit stun increased by 6 frames. So hit stun on this increased by 6 frames, which now means that you get to I think it lets him do orbiting hat. I'm not sure if he could always do that, but more hit stun at least. How much is it now? It is +6. So it was 0 before. Actually, once more, I'm just gonna quickly check chat. Was that possible before, my friends? Could you do 1-2-1 orbiting hat? Did that work? Did that work before? You could do amp. I know you could amp spin, but could you do this? Because you get a lot more off this. Regardless, okay. So I'm not gonna linger on this too much because if you wanted to spend a bar to combo off of that, you could always amp spin anyway. But you know this works. I'm not sure if this worked before, but I know there's been some orbiting hat changes as well, which makes me think it might be. His back 4 recovery decreased by 6 frames, so that's a bit better. The sweep is a bit better. Orbiting hat now has 13 startup frames, down from 14. And this is Orbiting Hat, of course. This is a Lotus Fist change. 5 more frames of block stun, so it's now... I do this. So it's now -4 on block. Not any worse than that. 5 more frames of hit stun, so it's now easier to combo from. At least I believe so. What was it? Was it 2? What was the combo? Was it 4? Ah, it was that. It was that. It was that. So it's everything that would combo before, much easier to do now. Much easier to do. Which is quite nice. Orbiting Hat Amplified now has 10 more frames of block stun, 16 more frames of hit stun, and 5 more recovery frames. Omega Hat starts up 1 frame faster and recovers faster. So if you're going to do this, that is now much better across the board. I honestly still don't feel like it's going to be worth it, because it still costs your entire... Like Tweedy said, it costs your entire bank account to do it. But you know, you still get combos from it, so you know it's still gonna give you more options. But speaking of which, you can now it might take me some tries because again I haven't done this before, but you can do this. There you go. You can now get a forward 4 off of this. I don't know if you can get it off of this. Must do it off of this just to... Yes. So he still has, like, if you want to do the easy versions, you can just do this, and then, you know, do the old-fashioned Lotus Fist combos. But if you want to go for the tighter one, for more reward, you now can. There you go. Which gives you, like, confirmable 400 damage, which is very nice. Obviously, it costs both bars, but only 1 bar of defense, so it's not the end of the world with that one, specifically. But that's huge, you know, getting that forward 4 option now off of Orbiting Hat, getting it off of your best punish. God, I wish I had the better execution so I could show it more, but this is literally the first time I've ever done this, so I'm sorry if I'm screwing it up. But yeah, 40% into a good knockdown. Off of 2-1, you can get it off of... Get it off of that. I actually don't know if he can... I think it looks like he's too far away, but I don't know. I don't know about this one. Well, you can still do that. So you can still grounded side switch as well if you want. It just really helps out Lotus Fist, right? It gives Orbiting Hat... It gives Orbiting Hat access to higher damage than the other one gets. If you want to spend the 1 bar on this, you can do... let's have a look. So I'm actually really curious myself to see how much this does. I dropped it. So even that, 350. What if I do the 1 bar? So 371 bar in comparison to the Z hat, which will get 270. So you get a clean damage improvement over hat tricks now if you go for these extended forward 4s off of the Orbiting Hat, which I don't see why you wouldn't. If you're playing Lotus Fist, you're gonna want to get that kind of damage for sure. And it's made Omega Hat a little bit better. I feel like the amplified version of this is still not worth it. It just costs too much. I feel like if this cost 1 bar of defense, but if it cost both offensive bars and 1 bar of defense, maybe it would be easier for me to see a point in it. But the fact that it costs everything you have, unless some really cool stuff gets found with it, I don't know if I'm going to be a believer. But let's find out. I'm actually curious with this. Yeah, I mean, that's near enough the same as if you do the full combo. I don't know if he gets more in the corner from it, but high damage, but a high cost, high resources. But believe it or not, that pretty much is it for the characters too. I actually want to see if Kung Lao can do this. Maybe make him not block. Oh! I don't know if this was possible before, but it is now for him. That seems pretty good. I mean, kind of, because this is still high. But if someone does want to mash, they die. Yeah. So pretty much that's the gist of it too. So again, both characters get jailing buttons now, which is really nice. ERRON Black definitely nerfed for sure. I feel like he can still play ERRON Black. He can still do what he wants to do. He just isn't as good at it, and it isn't quite as... Again, I hate using the word as like a negative term, but like, autopilot. He was very autopilot. You blocked anything, go into Scud Shot. On hit, get a nice massive combo. Giant acid on the floor. Loads. Some of the best built-in Oki in the game by far. The best fatal blow. The best fatal blow in the game, and it still does everything it did do, just not... Pull it and then bam, everyone's dead, right? It's not the easiest reaction in the game now. I feel like that's the gist I get from ERRON, is that he still gets to play the way he wants to play. It's just not quite as easy for him. And it was very easy before, in my opinion. But I guess we'll see how he develops. I know a lot of ERRON players are already talking about dropping him, which I find quite disappointing. But, you know, it's up to them. No one's going to be forced to play whoever they want. Like, it's fine. And Kung Lao, buffs to Lotus Fist, really. That's the gist of it. Trying to give Lotus Fist some more place. It does do a lot more. Being able to get forward 4 off your standing strings gives Lotus Fist the highest damage of the two, which does give it something that Hatrix does not have, which I think is important if this is the kind of patch you're going for. And again, gets nice things off of the down 1 and down 3 on hit, which is really cool. Yeah, that's it for these characters. Again, we're really getting through these, but we're not done just yet. I'll see you guys once more very soon with the next tip.